Supply and demand graph for egg consumption in the United States of America. Okay, so this is the egg supply and demand curve for 2023, 2024, and we can see the equilibrium quantity and the equilibrium price. Equilibrium price is at about $3 for a dozen large white eggs, and the equilibrium quantity is at it's about 2 million eggs. So I'm using a scale of 1 to 10,000 because I cannot represent the big figures on the graph. So I just have to scale it down of a figure between 1 to 10,000. So as we can all see, that's the equilibrium quantity and the equilibrium price. That's for the first curve. This is the second curve, the egg supply and demand curve for 2024 to 2025. So the equilibrium quantity um, increases to about 3 million, and the equilibrium price goes up to about $5 for a carton of eggs, which is about a dozen eggs. And again, this is for large white eggs specifically. So I'm going to be discussing some of the factors that caused a shift in the demand and supply curve for eggs. The first one is the highly pathogenic avian influenza. That's the HPAI virus. The demand and supply chart for eggs has been greatly influenced by the recent increasing cases of the HPAI virus, which has caused farmers to cull close to about 170 million layers, which has greatly affected the supply schedule, and this causes prices to go up. The HPAI virus works in such a way that as soon as it affects a few birds on a farm, there's going to be need to actually cull off all the birds because it's highly contagious, and you're not just going to like get rid of only the ones that are sick because as soon as one of the layers gets the virus, it just spreads literally like it spreads so fast that you cannot really tell which ones have it and which ones don't have it. So it's better safe than sorry. Farmer just has to call the whole population. And when you call the whole population of layers, it's going to cause supply shortages. And when there is a supply shortage, the price is going to go up. The second reason as to why the graph and the curve shifts is because the holiday demand for eggs. So around November, late November, the Thanksgiving period to the Christmas period, all the way up to January, yes, the HPAI virus greatly affected the prices, but also we got to realize that a lot of people consume eggs and egg related products like confectionaries and baked goods like cakes, cookies, and all that kind. And the thing about eggs is that eggs have inelastic demand. So what inelastic means is that you can't really get a substitute for eggs when it comes to certain things. If there was an alternative, maybe something that you could use to replace the eggs, then yes, maybe the prices would remain at a certain point. But eggs, you cannot really get a substitute for eggs, so that's why I think they're considered inelastic. And that's the reason as to why even if the price goes up, consumers are willing to pay a higher price, and the demand is still going to be quite high because people need eggs, people need to bake cakes, businesses need to supply eggs to their customers, and during the holiday season, the demand actually even goes much higher. So despite the HPAI virus, you also have the holiday season that has increased the demand. And even if the price has gone up, you would expect people to reduce their consumption of eggs. But because eggs have inelastic demand, they're still going to continue consuming eggs. The next point that causes the shift in the curve, we could also talk about speculation. Although speculation is not really a major factor, but it's been considered that because of the outbreak in the HPAI virus, and when you have a few companies in the egg business that are controlling prices, they can easily agree to set a certain price for eggs. Now, in a free market economy, it's the market that chooses the prices. But when you have a few monopolies trying to set prices, it can really affect consumers, and it can also affect market dynamics. So sometimes when an event in the market causes prices to shift, there can be a tendency for businesses to increase their prices to cash in the trigger event, and this is also true for the egg market. The Department of Justice is investigating major egg producers to see whether they have been sharing information and hoarding supplies to cause an artificial jump in the prices of eggs. So this is something that I think the DOJ is actively pursuing, and they're going to probably do an investigation and find out if it's actually true. But yeah, business is business. Sometimes when you're in the business of maybe supplying a product that has maybe has been affected by certain market conditions, a lot of businesses are just naturally going to increase the price because they're not sure whether their suppliers are going to be able to supply them at the price that they've been buying at. So they're naturally just going to increase the prices because they'll tell you that, hey, we cannot supply with eggs at this price, but we're going to give it to you at this price because the supply is low. So a lot of businesses can take advantage of the market conditions to artificially inflate prices. So policy changes in way forward. The United States Department of Agriculture, under the leadership of Secretary Brooke L. Rollins, has implemented a five-pronged strategy to help improve biosecurity and hygiene conditions in egg farms across the United States. And this has helped bring down egg prices. I was reading an article about Waffle House. Waffle House is one of the biggest, I think, egg buyers in America because they supply egg-based products, and they have reduced their surcharge on eggs of 50 cents. I think it's been taken off, and this is in I think this is as a result of the concerted effort by the USDA and the leadership in the United States Department of Agriculture to try and help farmers and suppliers curb this deadly HPAI virus. The USDA will also be investing close to $1 billion in this comprehensive strategy, which will improve risk assessments and prevention of the spread of the virus. And then also, Americans are also encouraged to do their own, egg farming in their backyards. If you live in the countryside or in a rural area, for example, you don't have to be buying eggs from the grocery store all the time. Although people might not have the time, not everybody has the time, but if you do have the time on your hand, it wouldn't be bad to have a few layers in your backyard. So in case maybe prices go up, you can just go pick a few from the chicken coop. So yeah, this ends the PowerPoint presentation, and these are the references. This is where I got my just some of the references from my work.